The almost perfect podcast.
I mean, I won't claim to be a kind of expert or anything, but I don't know, this pandemic has kind of forced people to concentrate on stuff that's most important. So that's why I mentioned family and
Yeah.
things that bring you peace. Do you get what I'm saying? So I usually start my week by like writing down the most important things to me and the most important people to me. And I just think about how I can bring value to them and how I can best be valuable to them and be a blessing unto them. So I don't know if my Zen is quite as like deep or like textbook as that, but I just try to focus on the things that bring the most peace in the most efficient kind of way. Also health wise. So I try to eat as healthy as possible, as little as possible. The one thing I can't get right is sleep, but I guess that's just the curse of the creative, I suppose.
Yeah. Although I've been quite lucky lately. I've been using this app called Headspace.
Yeah,
Like, no, they're not like not a plug, like, they're not paying me or anything, but I've actually found the doing the meditations before I go to sleep to be very useful because you do this whole thing where you breathe and
yeah.
you let your thoughts go and all of that, and then they make you like count back from 1,000. And I promise you, like, you're not gonna get to one. So yeah, I've been finding that to be pretty useful for the sleep thing over this last week. And just in general, like just trying to get in touch with that sort of vibe. Like I'm with you on the health thing, but like
Yeah.
health is such a broad thing as well because it's yeah, it's food, it's exercise, and it's also just like yeah, getting your thoughts in order and
Exactly.
getting your brain working right.
Speaking on Headspace, I tried that, and there's another one called Calm. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get into it long term. I think it's because I know that it's an app and I can switch it off whenever I want. So I couldn't declick that part of my brain. Um, so I ended up just using like CBD infused like things, and every now and then I take some CBD just before bed to kind of mellow me out because my mind runs like at night, and sometimes I can't sleep. So
Yeah, I use CBD infused things, but that's called weed for me.
yeah, so yeah, I just use like the oil and I dip it into a bit of tea. Sometimes I just take it under my
Oh,
tongue.
nice.
Yeah, that usually mellows me out, and it's okay.
Yeah, and it's like it is just such a valuable fucking thing is just getting a good night's sleep. But you also you have a pretty interesting take on the gratitude like kind of journal there. So like when you're talking about your Zen not being like that deep, it actually almost sounds like deeper than like some of the surface level shit that like gets promoted out there essentially because
No,
like
really.
we well yeah because I'm like heard of stuff like a gratitude journal where you've got to like every day like either start your day or end your day writing what you're grateful for, and it's cool, like it's useful, but like I like the way that you take it. It's not just like being grateful for these people, it's like thinking about how you can actually like impact their lives.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just when you put it that way, my main thought was trying to be as intentional as possible because, like you said, being thankful in that kind of surface level way can become like a repetition kind of thing, like a recitation. You just say it, like a prayer you say before you eat, kind of thing. So you kind of lose the value in it. But when you make it
Yeah.
intentional at the beginning of each week, yo, I want to spend more time with that person. I want to find out what that person is doing and see how I can be valuable in their lives, or I want to put more attention on that. I think it gives you a bigger view, like a bigger perspective on what's going on in your life and other people's lives. So that's how I look at it.
And when did you start thinking along this way? Because I'm sure when you were, younger, this wasn't your main focus.
I mean, yes and no. I think I've always thought about things this way, but it was when I read. I didn't read the whole book, so don't give me credit. But I read, I think, the Seven Habits of
Highly
Productive
effective
People.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, and I stopped at the part where they basically said you need to think about your life from the back. So imagine your funeral and everybody there, and how would you like them to remember you from a personal level, from like just the surface level, and then work back into investing and building those thoughts and those memories that those people have, and it gives you a different kind of perspective. into how to implement who you exactly want to be. Because all of us think we want to be rich and all of us think we want to be famous. But if you think about it in that intentional way, you find out what's really important to you, and then you can really start to invest into it and find out, oh snap, I really don't want the same things as other people. I want this, and I can be intentional and very specific about it. So that's when it clicked for me.
Damn, yeah, that sounds like you're on a similar journey to me because like I'm totally with you there. Like the whole money and fame thing, it's like not yeah, it's not what I want. Like I want some money
Yeah,
and I want, some amount of an audience and then I'm happy. Like
yeah,
I'm not too I don't want the problems that those people have, man. Like like I see like what happens if you get famous and I see like what happens when you get rich and like just all the shit you got to deal with is just I'm so
exactly.
chilled. I'm so happy with my life now in a lot of ways, and so it's like I just want this, but a bit more. Like,
Yeah. And speaking on that, actually, I was looking back because sometimes we forget to look back at people exactly at who we are. I was thinking back to a lot of interviews I used to do when I was starting out, and people would ask me, "Yo, how where do you see yourself in the future? What kind of artist do you want to be?" And I'd always mention I want to be an independent artist who's in charge of my supply chain. So from creating the music to distributing it to deciding how it looks, deciding on the sonics, and being in charge of my merchandise, being in charge of basically how people perceive me, and basically being your own business on a small level, having an audience that you cater to. And sometimes I get, what's the word, distracted by other people's successes. But in
bro,
that
yeah.
moment, I had to reflect that I had done every single thing that I had wanted to do at that point as a kid. So I had to be a little bit grateful for everything that I'm doing right now, even though it's not on the biggest scale. But
I mean, it's
there's
getting bigger.